You just got your asses whipped by a bunch of goddamn nerds. Nerds!
Welcome back, everybody, to another Nerds Pod. That's Pooba. That's Pete. It's your boy Cole, and we are here to talk about Daredevil Born Again, Episode 7. Holy smokes. There's a lot of fatalities going on. There's a lot of saving. There's a lot of kicking butts, and we're going to get right into it. Hey, Pooba, tell me what you thought overall about this episode.
The story's good. I'm okay with the story. Not happy the way this ended at all. I think that there's some use in Muse as a character. It is sad to see him go away because I think he's still super intriguing. And there's a lot of different things that they weren't able to do like the comic book did because Muse is an inhuman. So in the comic book, and here they kind of step away from that. I mean, the only inhuman we ever talk about is Bolt. Black Bolt. So I think overall it's a good episode. I think we understand the characters, the way they're going at this point in time. We see a kind of parallel with Fisk and with Daredevil, Matt Murdock. I do believe that they're becoming who they're wanting to be. Daredevil is a scapegoat to Kingpin becoming Kingpin, especially with the "what do you see outside?" fear. Again, the dialogue there could have been better myself, in my opinion. But I think overall it's a good episode because I'm understanding what's driving Matt Murdock, right? Very cool to see the way he does his things in the sense of use of his powers. I think we saw that in this episode as well. I think it was overall a great episode. I'm just not happy the way it ended. That's just me and understanding. But I do think that Muse may be coming back.
Yeah, it's crazy because it seems like there's an episode or two where we'll look back at this and say, gosh, why did this person have to go? Why did this turn? And we could always look back and see how it all comes together. But I think now is like your famous phrase, the meat and potatoes of this whole series. Hey, Pete, what did you think overall about the episode?
Matt kind of addressed. I think we spoke about it last episode when you said what pushed him over the edge to, put the Daredevil suit back on. And he told Cherry when he was arguing with Cherry, the cops were dicking around. He said it, exact words. And I was just like, okay, good. Let him know. Like, I still don't understand what Cherry was upset about. I get it's dangerous. He's a vigilante. He's technically breaking the law, but he saved somebody's life. He stopped a serial killer. I don't understand what the point was with Cherry beefing with him. Just that just furthers my point that the investigator should have been Jessica Jones and not some guy named Cherry. But I digress. Awesome. They kind of touched on Matt and his the psychiatrist relationship. They told each other that they loved each other. So it's getting deep.
It sure is. I like that you brought up Cherry because maybe what you predicted is going to come into fruition. We already know that Jessica Jones is part of the Defenders. So maybe he said, I'm going to get fired by you anyway, so let me just leave and be upset. But you're absolutely right. I would like to touch on that because there was something that Matt said and told him, hey, there was a time when, you called me and I think that was pretty solid, especially like when you're trying to get a serial killer that already killed 60 people. Can you just only imagine?
60, that is an enormous number. If you look at, you see these shows that are out now that they kind of tell us like the background of serial killers who have gotten killed, and 60 is a big number. That's a huge number. So
in the comic book, there's a mural that Muse does. And Daredevil goes to it and smells the blood on the mural, and it's 100 plus on that mural.
Ooh!
So that's in the comic book as well. In 2016, Daredevil. So if you want to read that as well. But yeah, so he kills way more than what they're in the comic book than they're actually allotting to in the show.
Disney just got their TVMA, so I guess they're gonna take it lightly for now. But talking about Muse, and we already know what happened into this episode. Puba, did you expect that Muse was gonna go out like that?
Sad to say, but yeah, he's gone. So I didn't expect him to go out like that. Not at all. Not at all. I thought that he would get arrested. There's a beautiful scene in the comic book where Muse got captured and he's cuffed, and he actually breaks his fingers in front of Daredevil and be like, "This is what you wanted to do anyway, right?" Like he's that demented and that sick. And I think we got a little bit of that fear from Muse, especially when he was talking to Heather, the psychiatrist. But no, I didn't expect that at all. Daredevil doesn't kill, right? And she was half near dead, but she was reaching for that gun more than once. So I kind of figured that she was going to take a shot at him and maybe shoot Matt instead of Muse. But they did some cool things when it came to his death. He had laid that canvas down because Heather was going to be kind of his final masterpiece. And when Daredevil shot that hook into his shoulder and pulled it back, that blood splattered on the canvas, just kind of giving Muse a bit of Muse's art back to himself. But I think Muse was a dope character. They didn't get into the Inhuman, that he's an Inhuman. And that's what gives him his kind of voidish powers, where he doesn't give off any senses to Daredevil. But I think there's a lost opportunity here for Muse, but there's also a great opportunity for Muse to come back. And that storyline is in the I think it's called Hell Something in Daredevil. I want to recall it and say it correctly, but Daredevil kind of makes a deal and comes back as a ghost, and he takes over and possesses an artist's body in college. So I'm hoping that we get something of that nature. I know we don't do ghosts or there's no hell because we haven't seen Mephisto yet in this MCU, but I don't think we've seen the end of Muse, and I'm hoping that we don't.
Yeah, that is true. Neither do I. I think the character himself was very intriguing. Again, I never got an opportunity to know about this character, and since he, was deceased by the third time you get to really, really get to see him, it is a little disappointing. I see that Marvel sometimes they have the roster so large that there's a lot of times they'll just kill off a character, and you'd be like, oh, maybe you should have kept them for a while.
No, he does die, right? So he does die in the comic book, and I'm okay with that as well. And the comic book is called Unleash Hell for Daredevil, by the way. That series for Muse, him coming back. But yeah, no. Again, I think did Muse make this show better, right? That's the question. Is this show better off with or without Muse? I thought it was better with Muse in the world. The raft is kind of a thing, right? And I think we see the raft kind of in Spider-Man off the East River, I think it is. But if we did something like that, where we could start putting these guys away instead of killing them off. I mean, my man knew Taekwondo, same art I knew. So I was a fan of right there when he said it.
Well, Marvel and DC are so parallel. It's shocking that Marvel doesn't have their own Arkham Asylum, or maybe they do. Pete, do they have? And does Marvel have an Arkham Asylum?
I would think the raft is probably the closest thing they
The
have
closest
to it.
thing, right? Yeah. So, Pete, I wanted to know your interpretation and what you think about the character Muse.
Something I've never seen anything like it, and I've been reading comics, and one of the things I would say is you want to you want to kind of like look up any character you may see in a show or a movie. Um, you can go to Who's Who. It's a comic book series. It's kind of like an encyclopedia for characters. That's for DC, and for Marvel, it's the official handbook of the Marvel Universe. They're both kind of like I said, encyclopedias for the characters in their respective universes. That's why I learned a lot about characters growing up, reading those comic books. Um, but Muse, something I've never seen anything like this guy. And it's really dark. Using his victim's blood to do his artwork, to do his paintings. is really a different twist. As far as what Puba said, as far as the Inhuman, I didn't know about that. Again, I didn't know a lot about this character. Um, seeing that he's an Inhuman, I'm not surprised they didn't kind of mention that here because it's a more grounded show. But who knows? You never know. The last episode, they do a post credit scene and you see Muse getting out of the corners, walking out of the morgue or something like that. But I wouldn't be surprised, being that they'll probably touch on that later if that was the case. If they want to go that route as far as him being an Inhuman, we did find out that Bullseye has the adamantium spine because he survived a fall from the roof of a three-story building. And but Muse being gone probably opens the door for Bullseye coming back, and hopefully we get to see some more Frank Castle. But to close it out again, I've never seen anything like Muse. Impressed with the character creation of it. His even his outfit is that he has his mask is made of canvas. One of the things they used to track him down was like, this is a piece of canvas that's not as rare, and there's only so many stores that sell it. So that was cool, and just to see how into art he is. But I think he's a little too much into it if he's using blood, taking the blood of his victims and mixing it with paint to do his murals. But dope character overall. I do understand why we said Daredevil doesn't kill, but that shit going through his shoulder was crazy to me. That was a dope part of the fight. I was like, oh shit.
And they showed it. They showed it.
They
all
showed it,
right.
yeah. Props
Yeah.
to them. They showed it. But yeah, and then dope character. His mask is made of canvas, man. That to me was pretty dope.
That's awesome. I love to keep learning about this character here. And just watching it on the show, I got to see a little bit, but it's a great teaser for me to like dive in like you guys did, and anyone out there that is more curious to know, because this character actually holds his own. You could tell that with this show, they had so many writings, so much to do that they didn't even have time to show him at least appear in the psychiatrist's office one time prior to him being there in this episode, only because he does say, "Oh, you know me," and in my mind, I'm like, "Well, you just met," because I only got to see him at that time. But Muse overall, I did like though that they for the show and not the comic book. I'm talking about just the character in the show, that they explained why he was able to hold his own against Daredevil when we spoke about that on the previous episode. So that was pretty cool as well. The way he went out, I thought it was dope because Matt did everything he could to like slow him down and stop him. But when even through the mask and that canvas thing, that's so awesome. I didn't even know that. That's so cool that his mask is made out of that. That you could see in his eyes, forget about Daredevil and the fight I'm in. I need to finish this mission. I need to kill this victim. Because he even during the fight, he just stops. He goes after the knife, ready to stab her. And then, of course, I think everyone's favorite part was when Daredevil threw the grappling hook through his shoulder.
Oof.
That was, wow, yeah. Holy smokes.
And they pulled on him. Oh,
Yeah,
I
I
was
definitely cringed.
let me just if I could add this, I was shocked. Muse had a gun. I
it
was
seemed low
shocked at
budget
that.
for him. Yeah, it kind of seemed
Yeah.
low budget for
The
him.
detective did bring up something like it's from the that task force that Fist said. They did say something about a killing suicide, maybe
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
a,
maybe it was gonna blast him across the
A
head like
murder
a few.
suicide, yeah.
a murder suicide. There you go. So
Maybe
yeah,
that
maybe
was
that was the whole point. I mean, he can fight. He's good with knives. He
his artwork is
he
great,
got
and he's good at
he
taking hostage.
he
To
got
show.
a
Believe me, it was hard to get back here.
he got a gun, and he can paint. You should swipe left. Anyway,
I don't know. Be careful, ladies.
You know,
What's that?
one of the, you talked about his artwork. One of the artwork that he did inside inside Muse's lair, whatever that is. There was an artwork that looked like David Mack's artwork, one of the earlier drawers for Daredevil, and he actually gave us a shout out on our Twitter, and saying that he actually thought the show was wow, and he was listening to while he was working. So shout out to David Mack if you're listening.
Yeah, shout out to him indeed. So, Pooba, let me tell you, you have Kingpin finally being the Kingpin that we all know and love. He has power, control. He is super. Let me not say that. He is who he needs to be. And that is the Kingpin that I'm finally happy to see. I have to ask you, Pooba, did Vanessa throw out that hit for him? Or are they working together?
I debated this for quite some time, and I don't know. So, going back to what you had said in earlier episodes where you were confused about this relationship, I don't know if Vanessa was working for Luca. Was she giving a heads up to her husband? Was just that coincidence that he kind of threw that bone out there and he's following the messages? I mean, supposedly he has an AI, remember from the Echo series, so he's up with technology. I don't know. I don't know if hey, call my wife, ask her if she wants this dinner, was kind of like, I know what you did, or was it a hey, good looking out, let me be a good husband. Listen, I'm thinking maybe I'm going to lean on the fact that the therapy is working, and they're making it like this is going to be something good for them. Therapy is working. Amor is in the air, and they're actually gaining to love each other because she is now seeing this new version of Fisk kind of coming back, and that's the man that she fell in love with, and that's the man that she's looking out for. I'm gonna go on the side of Arif. I'm a betting man, which I am. I'm gonna bet that Vanessa was trying to hook up her husband. Here's the heads up, and forget the guy's name. I think it's a Duke.
Buck.
Buck. I'm bad with names, guys. But yeah, Buck. Buck hit. At first, I thought that was Bullseye in the shadows.
Me too.
A quick thought that was Bullseye in the shadows.
Bullseye's in jail.
Yeah, but you know what? We got the mayor as Fisk, so I don't. He's not outside the realm of pulling strings. But yeah, I'm leaning on the fact that the therapy worked. They are working it out. Adam is out of the picture, and they're moving forward in their relationship. And she was looking out for her husband. I'm gonna bet that, but I'm not out of the realm and wouldn't be shocked if she was gonna take out Fisk real quick.
I'm not gonna lie, I love when Buck shot and Kingpin didn't even move, didn't flinch or anything.
Buck
And
shot.
I love it. And he was like, thank you. I'm gonna agree with you, Pooh, on this one. I believe that yeah, the therapy might be working. And I think it was when Luca said, um, it's better when you're in charge. I think that's what triggered it. And she's like, oh, that's how you feel? Then there's no loyalty there. Let me give my husband a heads up. Oh, we'll set him up. Have you eating dinner by yourself and the whole 9 yards. So I'm agreeing with you, but I am interested to see where does this relationship go? Does Kingpin kill her? Does she kill him? I doubt that. But with, I'm really curious to know where this relationship is going to end up going. Pete,
Definitely a topic of conversation. Absolutely.
yeah. Pete, I got to throw it to you. I want to ask you, my friend, talk to me about Kingpin and how he's been portrayed in this show, in your opinion.
Like I said before, it's a little bit eerie that it's art imitating life, um, and he's starting to they're merging. The politician is merging with Kingpin. Now we're seeing that more in these episodes, these last couple episodes, with him fighting Adam, giving him a weapon, and still beating him down, just showing us that he does possess that strength. And then you look, I mean, look, and the writers have done a great job with the cliffhangers. It goes back to the White Tiger episode when he was murdered. They showed the Punisher emblem. We didn't know. We you know we were like, oh, is it the Punisher or is it the cops? I think they did a good job on this episode as well with a cliffhanger, kind of wondering, are they back? Like you guys brought it up. Is the therapy working? But does Kingpin, is he one step ahead of her because she tries to kind of set him up? Don't really know. So it's cool, but he's back in control. And one of the guys mentioned it. He has he has the muscle because he's the mayor.
Mm.
That combined with him being this crime boss is we're starting to see that.
You saw the passion, right? When he was explaining it to Buck, and he was like, "Look, man," he's looking at Daredevil like Daredevil's the bad guy and the
Yeah, he
villain
came
in
up kind of
this.
childish though. I found him to be childish because he was griping, and it was a one-sided view about his enterprise and the people and all that stuff. I found him to be childish there. Like I thought that was a bit childish, like a little whiner.
He hates him. He hates him.
But it came off whiny to me. It came off a little bit whiny to me. I wanted to be like Dito, get him some Kleenex. Ja.
Look, whiny or not, I'll be honest with you. If they never drew the Kingpin and they just casted this actor to play Kingpin, I wouldn't be surprised if they drew Kingpin the way this actor looks. Him looking out the window to me just shows how accurate, how perfect this actor to this character that we know and love is just so. They knocked it out the park
One of the
with
best
this one right
castings,
here.
I think, in MCU.
Absolutely, hands down.
Pete, we got to get you a Vincent D'Onofrio tweet back at you because I know you're a big fan of his.
No, I think he, you know what it is? I think they nailed it. They nailed the casting with this guy.
That is for sure. And overall, like the casting throughout everything, I think we're all fans of Charlie Cox as well.
Of course, yeah, definitely.
Playing as Daredevil, the main character and all. So, fellas, we are at getting to the finish line here. As there are only 2 episodes left, we're breaking down episode 7 for you guys right now. I gotta ask my boys, my peoples, my friends, my nerds, are you so far satisfied with the series and what kind of ending, not prediction wise, but what kind of ending are you hoping for that you can paint that this will make it the perfect series for you? And I'm gonna jump with Pete first.
It's been a while since we've seen Punisher and Bullseye and even Karen Page. A lot of the fans wanted them to come back, and they did. And I feel like we're still going to see them because what sense does it make to bring them back for 5 minutes each? We didn't see much of them, and these were fan favorites. And I'm the same way. Who was a fan of Muse? I'm a fan of Bullseye. So I'm hoping we get one last go with Daredevil and Bullseye before the series ends. We see some Frank Castle.
You think Frank deserves his own series?
It's happening next year. We're getting that too. But yeah, that I would just, I want to see him, want to see Frank Castle again, and I want to see Bullseye and Daredevil go at it one more time before the series over. Oh, obviously, we all know I think it's going to end up with him and Kingpin again in the finale, but we'd like to see Bullseye one more time.
That's really good takes because there's so many characters involved in just the Daredevil and Kingpin that it's kind of hard to like squeeze them all in, but at the same time, flakes are gonna drop when you putting your bowl of cereal in. Puba, I gotta ask you. I know Muse, got killed in this episode.
Well, we could always bring him back on this episode. I mean, on this channel if we ever wanted to.
That is for sure.
If we ever wanted to bring him back, we could bring him back on this channel. I have to eat crow. I said that Muse would kill Heather. and that did not happen. So I'm gonna eat crow on that one.
But no, I don't think
Almost.
so. Yeah, you
Yeah.
close. Like
You
he
were
was
really
going
close.
to.
Yeah.
So
You missed the parlay by one leg.
If it
yeah,
wasn't
I
for
mean-
if it wasn't for the star of the show, he would have did it.
yeah. So you know, I thought that he was going to create that where Daredevil and Kingpin had to work together. So I'm wrong there.
Okay, that
And
part
I'm
you
okay
missed.
with that. I took a guess at the early part of this episode, and that didn't happen. The one thing that I do want to see is, of course, a cliffhanger. And one of the things that we had in the earlier Daredevils is that we had the Hand, and we had a bunch of people that Daredevil could beat up. And I haven't seen that outside of the bank scene where he's saving the bank. But I want to see a cliffhanger where we expect, like, man, I can't wait for this next episode to come out or this next season to come out. But I want to see a crazy thing where Daredevil is bombarded and he really just can't get out. Boom, come in Frank Castle, Luke Cage, Jessica Jones, and they bring in the Defenders to close this season out, where we know what's going to happen now. It's New York City and the Vigilante group against the Defenders. So that's what I'm looking to see at the end here.
Oh, that would be great, man. You're from your words to Marvel's mouth, man.
To Kevin Feige's hand.
Yeah. Well, I hope you guys are enjoying the Daredevil Born Again series, and I hope you're enjoying us breaking it down with y'all. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. Thank you to all the subscribers. If you know a friend that knows a friend that knows a friend, let them know. Subscribe, like, hit us up, throw us on the comments, and we will hit you guys back. We will see you next time, my peoples. Till then, latest.
We will return.
The worst episode ever.